absolutely build your own brand strategy as a founder, but there are about 6 big ways to blow it, and most founders hit at least 3 of them. DIY brand strategy doesn't usually fail at the logo or the colors or your fonts. It fails on the stuff nobody warns you about. Hey, I'm Lacey Boggs. I've been a digital marketer for the past decade. Today, we're talking about the most common mistakes founders make when they build their brand strategy themselves and how you can dodge them. Okay, DIYing your brand strategy is genuinely a viable choice. Founders have a certain proximity to the customer and a passion for their product that an agency just can't replicate. So this is not a don't DIY it video. This is a here's where DIY is gonna go wrong video. I've identified 6 common traps, roughly in the order you'll hit them, plus where you can get the full framework so you're not winging it by yourself. Okay, mistake number 1, doing it in the wrong order. The biggest structural mistake you can make when you're DIYing your brand strategy is jumping to the visible stuff first. So that's the logo, the colors, the website, before you've laid the invisible foundation. Brand strategy is a connected system where every decision rests on the one before it. And if you skip ahead, your later choices are sitting on nothing. Think about a beautiful house. So when you walk into somebody's gorgeous home, you're not gonna compliment the foundation, but their interior decorator has nothing to do if the walls all fall down. The fix is to create the foundation first in the right order. So you're gonna wanna identify your customer, then think about your positioning, create your brand identity, and finally, make sure you have a go-to-market strategy. Okay, mistake number 2 is guessing at who your customer is. Building your buyer persona from assumptions and demographics instead of real behavior is a big no-no. You have to talk to some actual ideal customers through things like surveys, interviews, and other kinds of market research that you can do. And then you want to build your persona from real data and from behavioral markers. Another minor trap here is to rely on an AI persona when you could just talk to real people. The fix for this mistake is to talk to real people. Then when you can describe your core customer in their own words and why they choose you, you'll have a really clear ideal customer persona. Mistake number 3 is positioning yourself right on top of your competitors. Okay, the most common positioning mistake I see is anchoring your product to the same features and benefits that everyone else claims. It seems safe because that's what they're claiming, but that's a lookalike, not a position. When you do the competitor research and figure out who else solves your problem, who they're targeting, and what those key differences are, and what emotion their brand is relying on, then you can look for the white space where people aren't clamoring for the same attention. Usually the better move is to find a slightly different problem, a different customer, or a different emotion your brand can tap into, not go into a head-on fight. So the fix for this one is to be able to state exactly how you're different and not how you're the same as your competitors. Mistake number 4, DIYing the craft you're not trained for. Okay, so founders who nail the foundation might then insist on designing their own logo or writing all the copy themselves when they're not a designer or a copywriter. That poor execution will undercut your great strategy. Identity work, which includes things like your visuals, your voice, and figuring out how you want to present yourself, is where craft really matters. Okay, the fix for this one is a little bit nuanced. You want to be able to DIY the thinking and the strategy because you're the one who knows what the heart of your brand is, what the values of your brand should be, and what your promise is as a brand. But then bring in a pro for the making, especially when it's outside your skill set. Because you did the foundational work though, you'll be able to brief your designer or your copywriter really well instead of hoping they guess right. Mistake number 5 is losing objectivity. Okay, so when you get into this brand strategy work, you're gonna be so deep in the forest of your own product and ideas, you won't be able to see the trees. A framework really helps, but it doesn't replace having outside eyes. The fix for this one is to build in outside perspective on purpose. That can be a trusted network of colleagues or your mentors or advisors who are going to tell you what you're too close to see. This is a big gap that a solo founder may miss. Mistake number 6 is quitting the plan when it gets boring. The hardest part of brand strategy isn't building the strategy, it's executing after the excitement's faded. That's why founders tweak their strategy doc forever, changing the messaging the second it doesn't work instantly or second guessing decisions when they get busy. The go-to-market message and a real publishing calendar are what keep you shipping consistently. And it's discipline, not inspiration, that's going to carry a launch. So the fix is finding a repeatable core message and a calendar you can actually stick to, and then sticking to it. Okay, so this video is all about what not to do, but if you want to know what you should be doing, a resource I love is the DTC Operator's Brand and Branding Complete Toolkit. It includes exercises, worksheets, templates, prompts, all kinds of things that come in one big package that can help walk you through a proven framework to get your brand strategy where it needs to be without spending a ton on an agency. You're borrowing the framework and the discipline from an expert instead of outsourcing your passion. You don't need an agency to build a brand you're proud of, but you do need to avoid the predictable traps and follow a real order and framework. So the question isn't whether you can DIY your brand strategy, it's whether you'll do it with a framework or without one. Subscribe for more no fluff insights